Absolutely terrified. I know I would have been if I were in her shoes.
Well, I certainly didn't want to leave her alone last night, but she insisted she wanted to go to bed. She practically threw me out the door.
Can you imagine that that man chose Miles, of all people, to help that woman?
Darling, she didn't. He wasn't chosen. It was an accident. He saw the light in the window. He saw the doctor's sign in front of the house, and that was it.
But Margot, it was Tobias. I mean, the Tobias that they've been combing this whole entire city looking for.
I know. Is it true that he actually fired at Miles and Miles tried to escape? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the faintest idea. I don't have any details. You know, all Nicole said was that Miles was still asleep and that she was too busy to talk. She practically hung up on him.
Oh, well, I talked to her. I told her she didn't have to come in this afternoon, but she insisted she's going to.
She's not going to leave Miles home all alone after what he's been through, is she?
Why, April, I thought you knew your brother better than that. Dr. Kavanaugh is going to go to the office and receive patients this afternoon.
Oh, that's ridiculous. He's practically a patient himself.
Oh, yeah, you know that and I know that, but Dr. Kavanaugh doesn't. Isn't that typical?
It's typical, all right. Typical pig-headedness. Boy, he and Draper are two of a kind. At least Draper had sense enough to stay home today, though.
What do you mean?
Oh, he's coming down with something or other. I don't know. I knew he wasn't feeling well this morning, though, when I heard the groans coming from the bathroom when he was brushing his teeth. But I made him promise to stay home.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm sorry to hear that he's sick, though.
He didn't even put up a fight. You know, come to think of it, that doesn't really sound much like Draper, does it? I mean, willing to stay home in bed all day and not do anything.
Well, maybe he's not quite over the disappointment of not getting that job in New York.
Yeah. People usually do get over disappointments, but with Draper, it seems like depression.
Oh, come on, darling. He'll get over it. Has he heard about this Tobias thing? I mean, that might affect as a client.
Oh, yeah. Logan Swift called at the crack of dawn this morning to give us all the details. Matter of fact, that's how I found out about this whole thing. Not from my brother, not from my sister-in-law, but from the district attorney himself.
Sort of typical, too, isn't it? Oh, darling, don't worry about Draper. He'll get over it, really. And pretty soon he'll get a very exciting case right here in Monticello, and he'll forget all about that job in New York. And that's all it's going to take, just a little bit of time. Be so closed-mouthed about what happened to Miles when she gets here to the studio.
Good, because I want to hear the whole story myself.
Yeah, so does everybody else who listens to WMON.
Oh, really is Miles' story. Did it ever occur to you to try to get an interview with him on tape?
Yeah, the thought had crossed me mind.
Well, it's not going to be easy. You know how publicity shy he is.
I know.
Oh, well, you don't think Nicole's going to do it? I know she'd refuse.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of asking his wife. I was thinking of asking his sister.
Oh, no, you wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
Oh, why not?
Well, because.
Because?
Well, because I'm not a reporter. I'm just a lowly office assistant.
Uh-oh, now, you cut that stuff out. Number one, you want to learn all phases of this business, right? Well, this is a very important phase of this business.
Oh, come on, Margot. You're not kidding me. I mean, I know the only reason you'd like me to do it is because you think Miles would be willing to talk to me.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's another phase of the business you've got to learn. You've got to learn to take advantage of everyone and everything to run a successful station.
Yeah,
So,
well...
you try it?
Well, it would be fun to try.
Sure it would. And you wouldn't be alone. I'd have a cameraman along with you.
Well, when did you think of attempting this interview?
Well, when does Miles have his last patient?
5:30, 6 o'clock.
How about 6 o'clock? It'd only take about an hour.
Well, I'd have to call him up first and ask him.
And you call him up first and tell him that you're going to drop by and let the interview be kind of a surprise.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. That is far too sneaky. Still, though, I have to think of some way to convince him, huh?
The impression that you were an amateur.
Well, I wasn't being paid as a cameraman, Mrs. Dorn. I was being paid as a sailor. That made me an amateur.
Well, you're not. Not judging by this tape, anyway. In fact, I don't think you'll take very much on-the-job training at all, if any. As a matter of fact, how are you at interviews?
I beg your pardon?
Interviews. You know, taking pictures of talking heads, a very handsome talking head, as a matter of fact.
Well, that doesn't sound so tough. Who does the talking to the talking head?
Margot, I'm sorry.
Oh, darling, come in. The answer to your question just walked in the door. Darling, I'd like you to meet the newest employee of WMON, Brian Madison. This is April Scott.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
It's very nice to meet you, Miss Scott.